All right, all right, all right. We are on Facebook. We're live. Hopefully people can hear me in the group. I'm going to bring Liz on in a minute. We'll get rocking and rolling. I'm going to pull up. I had a ton of people that wanted to be tagged, so I'm going to ask you to bear with me for just like 2 minutes. I'm going to bring Liz on. I didn't want her to sit and listen, her have to watch me just add a bunch of people. So if you can do me a favor, if you end up catching this and you're live, first off, will you just comment live if you're tuning in live? Will you comment live or say hi? Just say hi in the comments. What that does is it pushes us into more people's news feeds so they can see it. There are a lot of people that wanted to see this. And I want to make sure that they're able to get access to it and be able to see it. So if you could do that, that would be a huge favor for me. And I'll bring Liz on here in just a second. I am going to tag as many people as I can who wanted to be tagged. If you could tag someone, Hannah, welcome Hannah. If you can tag somebody else who wants to be in on this, that would be awesome. Lisa, how are you? And pull this up. We'll get rocking and rolling here in just a minute. We got the live stream. Lisa's on here. Hannah's on here. All right, let me pull this up and get people tagged. And then we're gonna get rocking and rolling. Hey, Hannah, so good to see you. Oh man, we got so many people that want to be tagged. I'm gonna do as best I can here real quick. It's the one frustration of Facebook of like not being able to massive tag people. So I'm just gonna try to get as many as I can in the next like 2 minutes and then we'll get rock and roll with Liz. I would love to know, how are you guys doing today? What's going on this morning? I guess it's afternoon if you're on the East Coast like me. David, thanks for hopping on. Kelly, what's going on? John Lee is on here. John, what's going on? Thank you guys for hopping in. It's gonna be a great one. We got a massive interview with Liz. She has been a rock star student of ours. We're gonna dive into how she's built a membership site, what she's doing with her audience. I'm really, really excited. Trust me, you're gonna wanna stick around for all this one. Liz is amazing. She's an absolute rock star. Liz, you're probably tuning into this right now. I'm gonna tag you here in just a second. I'm gonna shoot you the invite here in just a second. Fibs, Osakun. Man, there's no way I'm gonna be able to tag everybody. I'm gonna have to just go back and tag everyone. The huge misfortune of limitations of things like Facebook. So cool, let me get this to Liz and I'll bring her on and then we'll get rocking and rolling. If you have questions for Liz, you wanna ask questions to Liz about, I know we had quite a few questions. I think we had a handful of questions come in on the original post that I'll be able to make sure we ask. Beautiful day, hopping on the bike this afternoon, yeah. Oh, on the bike, sure this. On the bike, sure. After this, I'm guessing this is after this, Hannah. Okay. Hannah, so glad, thank you for tuning in. We got Hannah on here. We've got Jeremy Sutton on here. We got David Wilderman on here. Where are you tuning in from? If you're watching this, where are you tuning in from? We got Sarah Falbo on. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna pull, let's see if we got, wait for Liz here in just a sec. Zoom has been goofy, so if Zoom, for whatever reason, acts up, we can switch to StreamYard, which is no biggie if we have to do that, but let's see. We'll see if we can get Liz on. Where in the country or world are you tuning in from? It's been really cool. We've got a ton of people from Canada in the program lately, or in the program, in the group. All right, we got Liz. Liz will be rejoining as a webinar panelist. I got to make Liz, I think I got to make you a co-host, so hey, sit tight. I got to figure out how to do this. Co-host, make co-host. Liz!
Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
How's it going?
It is going wonderful. I'm going to just see in Facebook if we can see both of us. We got David Wilderman from Wilmington, Delaware. We got Yolanda from Georgia. Hannah, you're in Alexandria too? I'm in Alexandria. That's crazy. We're going to have to meet up at some point. David Bailiff, ready for some knowledge. Oh my gosh, Liz, how are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, it's been a busy morning.
I bet. You are always busy. You got a ton going on. I am really excited. I was going to try to tag as many people as I could. You, of all people, understand the problem with trying to tag mass amounts of people. I made it through 3 before I realized there's no way I was going to be able to get everyone. So I defaulted and gave up, and I will just tag people afterwards. So if you're watching this live and you know someone who would like to see this or benefit from seeing this, please tag them. Please hit the like button, love button. Please drop a comment just saying hi. What that does is it'll get into more people's news feeds, which will help us, which will be really awesome because we've got an incredible interview with Liz Koch and the amazing things that she's been doing. Liz, if you're cool with it, I'm gonna make sure I hit record before we go into this, and then we're gonna go into hearing your story, if that's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. All right, I'm gonna record here. All right. Everyone who is tuning into this, whether you are listening to us on the podcast, whether you are in the Facebook group right now and you're watching this live and you get access to the one and only Liz Koch, we have an incredible episode. We have one of our favorite students. We say that about every student, but she truly is one of our favorite students. She's a rock star. She's an incredible cash PT practice owner in Asheville, North Carolina, and she runs an incredible online business, The Ride Life. Liz, I'm so pumped to have you here.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm super pumped to share some knowledge. Shout out to David Bailiff.
You have an immense amount of knowledge. You've been putting together, what I love about you, Liz, is you put in a ton of effort and work, and you don't take the easy route. You're willing to do the hard work. So I'm really excited to go into this interview. We've titled this, How You've Built a Membership Site That's Bringing You Over $1,500 a month. And I know that number fluctuates at times, but on average, we'll just say that that's where it's been at. And we've had so many people reach out to us lately, like, how do I start a membership site? Is it something I need to do? Should I do it? Before we dive into all the logistics of that, and we even had some group questions that I want to ask you towards the end of this. Liz, can you just give us a breakdown of the businesses that can you give us a breakdown of your profession, in case someone's listening to this on the podcast, what you do profession-wise, and then the business or businesses that you run?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a physical therapist. I have an engineering background on top of that, if you didn't know. So I'm engineer PT and practiced for a little while and then started my own business as a mobile into having my own clinic. This is my clinic room. And I started that in January of 2018 and grew that, and then realized that I wanted to bring in a little bit more and have a little bit more online presence to share my knowledge and share with other people around the world. So I started building up and looking towards mountain bikers, because that's one of the people and audiences that I serve in my clinic. And so I started looking into Facebook groups, to other things to do, and kind of floundered for about 6 months. and then I started working with you guys, and we kind of zoned in on a little bit more niche. So instead of just mountain bikers as a whole, women mountain bikers, so mountain biking ladies, we started up my Facebook group. All this while I'm still doing my cash-based PT business. And I also started last year I'm doing a little worksite wellness program that kind of just fell into my lap. I'm partnered with another girl, and she does majority of the work. Since COVID, that's kind of petered and fell off and fizzled, but whatever, things move on.
Yeah.
So started up the Facebook group, started getting in and learning what they wanted. It was a little bit different from what I thought was going to be offered. Did a couple programs and then launched my membership site in January to February this year. And so it's been running for about 5 months now, is how long it's been going on.
Yeah. And how many people are in the membership site now?
There is 85 people now that are in the membership. And then this week is challenge week. So I just finished up my 5th day for my challenge. And so this coming week becomes sales week. So I'm just entering sales week basically right now.
So we might even probably cross 100 mark by next week. We would assume, hopefully we'll be well over that, which is super cool. We've had the pleasure of watching you go through all this and seeing all this happen. And people hear the end result, right? They see the number of like, oh my gosh, yeah, which we'll get into, like the realities of all these things. But what people don't know is the initial struggles, right? Like, Liz, did you create a membership right away and you had all this, or did it take some time? Like, I want to go back to before you even created your current Facebook group, which you run, which is Mountain Biking Ladies, which is insane, by the way. If you're a female, trust me, I've tried. I'm technically in the group, but I'm not allowed to participate because I'm a man. So it's so hard because that community is amazing. But if you're a woman or a female and you want to get into the group, you should definitely join the group and see what Liz is doing. She's crushing it in her group. I'll put a link to it in this below. But before you had that group, Liz, tell me, what was your first course that you made and who were you trying to market it to?
I made a Fix Your Neck course because a lot of mountain bikers have neck issues, and I could help a ton of people with that were mountain biking and neck issues in a course online versus having to see them in the clinic, and I could affect a lot more people. I had 3 people buy.
How much was it for?
$37. So not an extreme amount, but just wasn't there marketing wise, wasn't there audience wise, didn't know how to present it. Since then, I've had more people buy it now, but not initially.
Let's go through this. So when you're making your first course, and I love the story because you're such a great example of what we know people need versus what people want, right? So you're thinking, and I've had so many people reach out to us. I know you've had people reach out to you of, hey, I want to make an online course, I want to make an online program. And I want to teach people how to get rid of neck pain, back pain, right? And I want to ask you this question back then, Liz. How many people had told you then that they wanted a neck pain for mountain biking, Fix Your Neck Pain for Mountain Bikers course?
0.
No one had told you that they wanted it, but you still felt compelled that they were going to need it.
Oh yeah, everybody should need it.
Which is cool. Like it's a natural thought, right? You treat these people every day. And this is a big misconception of what I do every day in person should translate online. Because every day, every single day in your practice, I'm sure, if not every day, every week, you're helping people fix their neck pain, right? Like I'm sure every single week. So the thought is, I'll just help, there's got to be hundreds of thousands of mountain bikers out there, and they'll clearly all need this and want this. And you had the experience. Will you talk us through your very first Facebook group? What was the title of it? Or if you remember the general title of it, and how was that experience?
I think it was called Mountain Biking Injury and Support Group. I remember we did a Facebook ad to it to get people into the group. And there were so many people that thought the support part of it was like mental support, like that people needed to be like coddled for their injuries in that specific group. And I was like, what are they thinking? Like, this is just to like help you get better. I think after 6 months, I had 150 people in there. And I would get excited if I got a like on any of my posts.
This is really important. It's such a cool story because as you're going to hear Liz's transformation, it's so fascinating because you think, right, like I want to work with this group of people and I want to help them. And we think, I'll just be super literal on the thing that they must need, which is you're a mountain biker. And I know mountain bikers get injured and there should be an injury support group, right? Which all of that logically makes a ton of sense, right? Like clearly there's got to be a lot of mountain bikers out there. They obviously get hurt, so they're going to want injury support. And, we went through it for 6 months. I remember we were working together and it was like, Liz, I'm not sure that this is the audience we want to go after. Like it clearly, as you had, I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you do even better than I do, the amount of, we'll just call it complaining, I guess, would be a, like, just, it was like a safe space to like complain about the things that they were going through, which wasn't really about community or building anything. And then we decided, hey, Liz, I think we should make a switch. And this is, I want to hear your story about this because I think this is really hard and painful for a lot of people. And you know this experience very well. How did we work through changing your niche and your audience, and how painful of a process was that?
I think it was a Zoom call with you and Alex on there talking to me about how I needed to switch it more narrow. And I was like, I don't know, guys. And then
the thinking isn't mountain biking and injuries niche? Like, isn't that niche enough?
You would think so. Apparently it wasn't niche yet needed for online space. And so I think that's an important notion for people to think about, that I talk to people about now for any of my coaching clients, is that, is it something that they're going to want from an online space? Because I realized that most of these injuries, most of these things were extreme enough that they were just going to go to a PT. They were just going to go to somebody, to a chiropractor, to a massage therapist, to another healthcare professional. They weren't going to seek online stuff with this. And so anybody that was there that potentially need my help, then it was going to be even more of a realm of like, well, you you probably need to go to see a PT. You don't need to see me online.
Yeah. Which is also interesting, right? Because it's a thought of even if we make this giant group and it's everyone's hurt, well, now they probably need services that we, given our license, may not be able to even provide outside of an educational course, which at that point is like, you'd still probably need to get on the phone with them to talk to them. And we didn't have a big enough audience that we could just, there's only 160 people in that first group. It's like, even if all of them bought at $37, which is great, it's like, you can't live off of that for right. And then they would never need it again. So now it's like, how do we just keep getting more and more and more? Didn't become very sustainable. So walk us through the talk of switching to finding your group that you have now, and how we decided on it, how you eventually became comfortable with creating this sort of new avenue or new niche.
I think it mainly came down to just, if you want to coach, you got to listen to your coach to a certain extent. Like if you were seeking help, it's like any of my patients that come in here and they're like, no, Liz, I don't think I'm going to do that. Well, what? You just paid for my opinion, for my advice, for my direction, and you don't want to take it? So when it comes to being coachable, like to actually listening and taking in, now it wasn't like, okay, you guys told me this, I'm right on board. It was like, I at least had to sleep on it for a night or two. You're like, okay, fine. They're probably right. I should probably knit down more. I should probably focus in more. And there's enough people in that group that I can make it sustainable.
I think so. A couple of things. As your coach, one of your coaches, I thought this was really, we really dug in deep on what your values are, who you're passionate about, who you want to help. And Liz, you went through the same struggle that so many people go through, which is, it's like, Liz, who do you like helping the most? Like, do you treat more men or women? It's like, well, I work with both and I'm great at both and I can help all of them with all of their problems. I was like, great. Well, who do you identify more with? And it was like, eventually we finally got to the root that you like to empower women, especially when they're riding and they feel powerful and you like that community. You go out riding with friends and you have girl friends that you go ride with. Not that you don't have men, like guy friends that you go ride with, but you also had, we were getting to it and you were like, and then we also knew that you're a business owner and you liked helping people achieve their businesses. And we just sort of asked who reaches out to you more. And it's like, I get a lot of women asking me about my business. And so we tried to think like, if you had to choose between a general type group where you could help women achieve what they want to achieve, because that's who just is drawn to you, and you could build a community around that. And that was probably the bigger question. What would you like to build a community around? Would it be around mountain bikers with injuries, or a group of women who love to mountain bike and you can help solve the problems that they have? And it was a struggle, right? Because you're Liz, and so many of us, we're multi-talented. You think, well, why not both, right? And it's like, well, you can do both, but you just can't. It's really difficult to do both at the same time. And that's what makes it really, really tough. Just like it's really tough to run two businesses at one time. It's just really, really tough. And so we narrowed it down. We thought, let's try so we had you actually look too, were there other women mountain biking groups out there? So you did your research. Walk us through, Liz, as you're thinking, like, we're trying to convince you, hey, you should do an all women's mountain biking group. Didn't even have anything to do with injuries, right? Talk us through sort of you doing research and figuring out if there's a niche for this, if there's people out there, like, because you could have easily come back and said, guys, this is a dumb idea. I did research. There's no women out there mountain biking and no women out there on Facebook groups. But I know you did your research. You were looking at it. Do you remember any of those times when you were like in the beginning when you're like, I don't know, is this going to work? Is this a good idea? Sort of those thoughts that you had?
Oh yeah. So I would search a lot of the just general pages, the other businesses that were serving that same crowd, other specific women, mountain biking skills, those type of businesses. They're more skills clinics based, and then they used to be magazines. They're now more blogs. They're now more forums, like more of those type of aspects to see, are they still alive? Are they still thriving? Do they still post? Are they still doing stuff? And looking at those type of things and being like, I think there's probably enough people.
It's a really big lesson too, because I think a lot of people, Liz, you didn't run away from it, right? A lot of people go, oh my gosh, someone's already out there doing it, run away. When in reality, we always tell people like, it's actually a really great thing if somebody else is already in that space, because they've proven the concept that people are interested in something. Whereas if you go and look at, hey, there's no mountain biking injury support groups, and you're like, I'm going to be the first. And you may want to stop and think first, like, is there a reason why that doesn't exist? You know, like if you think about the internet's been around for a while, and like there's groups on literally everything. And if no one has that group, it may be for a reason that there's no group about that. So I think that was really cool. And so you made the switch. Liz, talk us through what's happened since you made this group. Because honestly, some of it is like, I know that we've helped. Some of it's just pure like Facebook working in our favor in ways. It's been amazing. You've obviously put in a ton of work. Walk us through how you've been growing this group. What have been some of the biggest things? Because your group is now at how many members?
5,500.
Wow. And when did you start your group?
February of last year.
So a little over, not even a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
We're at 5,500 people. What has been, because I know we have a lot of people in here who have Facebook groups, and Liz has gone through a lot of our coaching of how to grow her Facebook group. And now we teach people too, like you don't have to have a Facebook group to get started, but it is an incredibly powerful tool. Liz, tell us, what are some of the things that have helped you to grow your group that are maybe in your control, less outside of like Facebook suggesting your group to people?
I think one is just providing other content in there, making sure it's a community. So a lot of times if ladies like what's in there, then they'll invite their friends. Right now, I think sitting in my queue to come in, I have about 30 requests or invites from even just one person.
Wow.
Like it just, every time I go in there, there's more. I just emptied the inbox from invites or like invited requests to join and then requests to join. It was like 50 last night, and I emptied it last night. I woke up and there were like another 50 in there. It's like, how is this possible? There's so many people already in here.
And this is a private group, right? This isn't just an open public group where anyone can jump in.
Yep, private group. I accept everybody into it personally or with moderators.
And we do this for a couple of reasons. One, like you don't let bad apples in or people who are trying to just promote or spam. Two, Liz, what is your email list at this point now?
I think it's around 3,000 now.
How many of those have come from this Facebook group?
A ton, most of them.
Yeah.
That's like that's the main thing of that grows my email list.
Boom. Right? Like what a cool way. You just added in one of your member request questions. Hey, what's your email so I can send you something? Liz now has an email list of 3,000, which is super important because if Facebook, I don't know, for whatever reason said, hey, Liz, we're taking away your group tomorrow, you know, for whatever reason, it's Facebook, right? We don't own it. It takes it away. Liz still has, you know, access to 3,000 of those women through her email list, which is super, super cool. All right, Liz, I want to dive in. At what point, actually, let's go through this because people are fascinated about the membership site. We're going to get there. And I want to ask first, was a membership site the very first offer that you made to this group? And when did you make your first offer?
So first offer was just a 6-week climb crushers group. It was a fitness training to climb hills better. $97, I think. Yeah.
How did you come up with that offer? How did you know? Was that something you had planned in your mind to make already? How did you come up with that program, that offer?
I asked them. I did a poll.
Wait, you didn't just pump out your neck pain course?
I could have just made another neck pain course.
All right, so walk us through your process. How did you do this? Something really important that I think people really overlook. You don't even have to have a Facebook group of thousands of people, right? If you have 50 people on your friend list or 100 people on your Instagram that you can reach out to and ask them. Liz, will you walk us through kind of how did you find this information out? How did you know what kind of offer you should make?
I first just asked them what they were struggling with. If they were struggling with climbing hills, if they were struggling with like low back pain, if they were struggling with hip tightness, they were struggling with going downhill and handling technical rocks and roots, like what they found that they were struggling with. And I thought for sure it was going to be low back and hip tightness.
Our PT brains.
I was like, money's on that. Nope.
So how did you ask them? Did you individually message them? Did you send out like an email? Did you do a survey? Did you do a poll in your group? How did you ask them?
I just did a poll in the group and had people explain a little bit more in the comments, because whenever you're asking anything via poll, the poll gets lost pretty quickly. At least it does in my groups now, because there's so much activity. Get about like 40 posts a day in my group. And so polls get lost pretty quickly now.
Yeah.
But if they comment or they interact with it, then Facebook pops it up to more people.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so your very first offer wasn't a membership site. So I think that's really important for people. Everyone was like, I just want to jump to a membership site. It seems like recurring revenue, passive income. The very first thing we did was we made a program. So was it 6 weeks or 8 weeks? 6?
It was 6 weeks.
6 weeks for $97. And how many women did you get into the program?
8.
Hey, $800 online. That's rent for like a lot of people. That's like a mortgage payment for some people, depending on where you live. Maybe not Nashville, which is high income or high cost of living, or property, not cost of living, but property is expensive. But otherwise, like that's a student loan bill payment. That's a mortgage, right? That's $800. And I really want to go through this. Will you break down, how did you make your offer? Because it's really cool. It's not like you had this plan in mind, right? They told you what they wanted, and then you had to go and make your program. Yep. Do you mind just shedding light a little bit on your process of how are you going to come up with a program? First, what did they decide for the program or what did they say was their biggest problem? And then how did you structure the actual program that you're going to make for them?
So I then asked them, after I found out that they wanted to climb better, then I asked them what they wanted in a program. And so basically had them design their own program, because I didn't have it designed. Might as well give them what they want. And it helps me sell it easier. Or
you didn't want to just give them another neck pain course. You sure?
Right. I'm trying to learn my lesson.
Okay, so they told you they want to ride better, or they want to, they want to climb hills better. Where does your brain go, right? Because you're not Liz, we should just say for context, like you're not a world mountain biking like champion or anything, right? Like, so it's not like you have some authority on the world's, it's Liz, she's the fastest uphill rider mountain biking person on the planet, right? But you know enough, right? You know the principles to make someone be able to climb better. So walk us through your process. How are you going to make this program for people?
So then after I like got what they wanted out of it and what they felt like they needed, then I did a free challenge for it. I gauged more interest. I gauged more knowledge within that. And then after that is when I first initially sold my offer. I hadn't actually built any part of the course. I just was giving them an offer. And then whenever I had the first person buy, I was like, okay, now I have to actually make something.
I love it. So you pre-sold before you made it.
Pre-sold.
Cool. I love it. I mean, you just think about this. To me, it's so important, right? Even for that 97, even if only one person had bought, right? At least you're spending your time on something that someone had validated was worth the money for you to make. And I just think that part's really important. So that was your first program. And then you went on to, I know the story of this part. You went on to make a second program following the exact same principles, right? You polled them, asked them what they wanted. You did a free challenge into promoting this, right? Regina asked, will I be able to listen to the rest of this later? Absolutely, Regina. It'll be here in the group for free for as long as Facebook allows us to have a group. So it'll be in here and you can watch it. So please feel free to come back, Regina, and you're welcome to catch the rest. So you do that again, Liz. You have another second launch, which was awesome. And I think the really big lesson to me was we didn't just drop a link and say, hey, who's ready to buy? You had a process, right? Like you built anticipation, you built excitement, you had a challenge, you were giving value. It was a lot of work. Like
a lot of work.
I guess I would love to know this. Was it more work than you probably anticipated creating an online business would be?
Yes.
Is building a business easy? Period.
No.
Yeah, right? Like the great thing,
it's so much easier. You're like, I'll just make a presence and then I'll have this course it's made and then people will want to buy it.
I think the biggest thing too, is even if you do have a course, right? Like even if someone's out there and they do have a course, it would be like, imagine everyone, if you had to have a job tomorrow and someone said, just think back to old encyclopedia people. I don't know if you remember time, Liz, of encyclopedia door-to-door salespeople that would come by and like sell encyclopedias. I only dealt with like 2 in my life, but I still remember being like, you walk around and try to sell encyclopedias? What is going on? Like if you had to do that, you can't just have those books and expect people are going to come to you. They literally go and they would knock on doors and be like, hey, I've got this. You have to treat your course like a product. If you have a product, you have to be the salesperson for that product. Okay, that's my little side rant on if you're going to make a course, you just want to have a course, you have to be the marketer and salesperson for the course. The internet isn't just going to be like, thank goodness for your program. We will now go market and sell it to everyone for you. Thank you. You're going to have to do it. Okay, so Liz, at some point, because this is what people are fascinated by, is some point you decide, hey, maybe I'll try a membership site. And I would love to know, walk us through the thought process of, hey, when did you start to think maybe I should put together a membership site? And did you know what it was going to be about?
It was during my 3rd launch. So it was January was when I built up the anticipation. I was starting to get people signed up for the challenge. And in that like challenge building or launch phase of the challenge, I was thinking, do I want to do another program like I just did? Like a 6-week or 8-week or whatever program and have team meetings each week. And I was like, that's just not sustainable for me.
Yeah.
That's not what I want. If I look at the numbers, I look at how many people are in my Facebook group, I look at how many people have joined into previous challenge, how many people in the Facebook group, and look at kind of the metrics of it. I was looking at about this much amount of revenue coming in or gross revenue coming in. It's like, well, if I do this membership site and I charge this amount of money, and then I can have that amount of revenue coming over 3 months, and I can make about the same, but a lot less of my time, and potentially even grow it more after that. Do another launch, grow some more people in there again and again and again. And it seemed more feasible in terms of my time and input to an online program versus doing a 6-week intensive, because those were just really tiring for me. Yeah.
Which I think is absolutely smart. And we're going to dive into the details of the offer of the actual membership site, but I want people to get to hear this. So Liz, remind us again, there are 5,500 women in your group, plus 2 guys that we secretly are snuck in. Maybe, I don't know, there may be a few more snuck in, but Alex and I are snuck in, and we just kind of, I'm telling you, it's the hardest thing in all of my internet stuff is I see Liz make an amazing post. She's become such an incredible writer, and she writes these amazing posts, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, no, I can't let them know that I'm here. I have to, it's the hardest. I think I've had to like and then try to unlike once, and I was like, this is the most painful process. I've never known how to unlike. Like, it's crazy on my phone. I'm like, finally get it. Anyways, you have 5,500 members, and yet you make the membership offer, and how many women got in?
So at that time, I think I had 2,500, or just shy of that, and made the offer, doing all the sales stuff within that, contacting people. I got, I think, 62 people in there, 62, 65, something like that.
Okay, and how much is the membership site for people to join?
$19 a month.
$19 a month. Okay, we're going to dive into it. But just for math's sake for people, like, this is why we don't really encourage people to start with membership site. Liz had a group of 2,500 women, and Liz had already been in this group, Liz, for like a year almost at that point, right? Like providing valuable content, showing up. 62 people. And Liz is really great at like selling and getting people in excited, right? We got 62 people, which is wonderful. But like percentage wise, that required a lot of people to get 62 people on a $19 a month plan, like a lot of people. And if you don't have a lot of people, a membership model can be really tough unless you're selling something that's solving a massive problem that people are like really, really dying to pay for. So I just think that that's a really important thing, because we get that a lot. Like, I'm ready, I want to just start a membership site. And it's like, well, if you're Liz and you have the amount of people, it can make sense. If you don't have that many people right away, it's not necessarily the biggest, it doesn't make the most sense unless your whole job is dedicated. Like, this could be different for Liz if her entire job was to go market and sell this program to people. Like Liz, if you made a full-time job of just, hey, I'm going to go find more women like this, get on phone calls with them, get them into the program, could be way different. But Liz has another business that she runs, and it's incredibly profitable, and she's amazing at it. So I just think it's really important that anything to add there, Liz?
Yeah, I think it's looking at how much, because I thought just a $19 a month product, I would be like, that'll sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, we'll get 500 people in, easy.
Like I was like, I think 88 people first launch, and I was like, ooh. After like a couple of days of just putting up the links and handing out the links like candy, and nobody was actually wanting to buy the candy, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to go back to my old tactics of selling and actually message people, but for a $19 a month product versus a like $125 product versus a $97 product. This is a lot different.
And this is a really important lesson, because as we teach in online business healthcare, which Liz is, she's a student of what had been the previous version of that, is if you're in that place and you don't have as many, the list that Liz has, it makes far more sense to do coaching and consulting first, one-on-one, where you can pay, where you can charge a much higher rate to give someone an individual custom solution, because it takes a lot of people to make a membership site super functional. And unless, I mean, you could have 100 people in there really dying to buy from you, could be the case. But for most people, as we've seen, and Liz, you've studied tons of membership models now, of you need quite a bit of people. But okay, that was my second side rant on all of that. Now let's get into the offer, because people are always like, okay, Liz, first thing, Liz, what software platform do you use? It's always the biggest question we get. What software platform should we use? What do you use?
I use ClickFunnels for my sales pages and lead magnets, and then I use Kajabi for the actual housing of my course.
Okay. And Liz, you do some really cool stuff. You are probably one of the most innovative like program designers I've seen. And we joke about your engineering brain being so amazing at being able to break things down, but it's really cool. You do some really cool stuff in your programs. I think it's really innovative for people. So will you walk us through when either Core Crushers or the membership group itself, like what do people do when they first get in? How do they figure out what to do?
So when they first get in, they get to a thank you page. And I've tried to make this as hands-off from me as possible. Because if they're paying a little amount, $19 or something, then I don't want to have a lot of touch points. They should be able to flow in. They should be able to do it and understand it and get their program and get going. I do have a Facebook group that they go into that they can ask through that, but I'd much rather them just flow through it. So in the thank you page, I have a video that goes through me going through and clicking all the different things that walks them through. The welcome video walks them through the self-assessments, which we'll talk about in a second, and then walks them through how they make their calendar and find their workouts.
Cool.
And so it's literally like click by click and me talking through it.
Cool.
And then with the actual course build, I have a welcome area, which makes sense, about what it is, what's happening, get them hyped about it. Because anytime, whenever they're doing it by themselves, they have to have more accountability. They have to have more determination. And you're basically reselling them the course once they're already in it, once they've already bought it.
You're reselling them after they've already paid, Liz?
Yeah, because I need them to actually do it and then to pay me months more and to actually get the benefit from it. So you resell them as you go on.
I love it. It's you now know now, knowing what you know about business, right? Like constantly have to be reselling, just like plan a care, right? With people, you can't just say, oh, great, well, you paid, and so now you're obviously going to complete everything. No, you're constantly reselling in that phase. So Liz, what's the actual offer? Like if someone says, because I'm sure you get this a lot, Liz, hey, what's in the Ride Life team? Like, what do I get with the Ride Life team? What is the offer that you've put together for people for your membership site? I think a lot of people struggle with this. They're like, does that mean I need to make 9 videos every week to add into the perk? Do I just keep building this monster of a program every single week? Like, what's your offer for people so they know what it is and how you structured it?
Yeah, so it's basically a build your own workout program. And so you go in and you do self-strength assessments for different areas of your body, and that puts you in different levels. And then they combine those levels into a calendar for their workout training program. So they can start like level 1 for lower body, level 3 for upper body, and level 2 for core and balance, and they know how to stack those for their training plan.
Cool.
And then I personally do either a Facebook Live or a pre-recorded video that I put out in the group as the monthly expert training from me. And then I bring in and either do a live or have them make a video of an expert that's also in the mountain biking world or in reference to what our goals are in that group. So nutritionist, on Tuesday, I'm going live with a nutritionist in the group, and we're going to talk about weight loss and riding for postmenopausal ladies. And
Cool.
so it gives them more than what actually I even can give them.
Love that. So if we were to list out, so what I heard, Liz, is if I were to list out is one, they get an online program, so an online, sort of a dynamic online program, which is like you get to sort of self-assess, which is kind of a really valuable thing in itself. So the offer is you get a self-assessment, which is really cool. And then 2, you get programs based on your self-assessment that are sort of customized for how you score on your self-assessment, which is really cool. So those are 2 things alone right there. Like I'd be willing to pay $19 a month for those 2 things alone because it's customized to me, right? Number 3 is you get a monthly training from Liz on something new or unique. Sorry, Liz, I have a feeling that maybe my oil change guy. You get something new or a new training from Liz once a month. Really cool. You also get a training or either a live video with an expert or a training video from another expert in some aspect of life. And this is why it's so cool to have a group around a specific group of people, because this can be, it's for women, right? So we can think of hundreds of issues that affect women that you can bring in. They don't even have to all be mountain biking related. That not all women, but most women have similar issues that they face, just like a whole group of men have similar issues that they face, right? So if I had a group of male mountain bikers, right, I might bring in someone to talk about testosterone expertise, right? Like, how do we deal with this? Or like men who are aging, I don't know, things that would be relevant to certain groups of men. 5, which Liz didn't even mention, but we knew implicitly that these 2 are provided in a private community, which is Facebook, of community of other like-minded women or women interested in something similar, right? So those are 5 things that you're getting. It's not and this is really important, that if you are creating something yourself, that you look at, what is my offer? How am I presenting this to people? Because if you just said, hey, it's a $19 a month online program for mountain bikers, you should join. It's like, cool. Well, the natural question is, what am I getting, right? And so Liz is able to break down, boom, these 5 things for sure you're getting. There may even be more benefits, right? Liz probably has templates of things or like other, who knows, things, but at least those 5 core things people are getting for $19 a month. And the reason to stay is you get these live trainings every month, right? So I think that's really, really cool. Hannah Shum says, so much value, Liz. She says, nice. Hannah, you need to get in the Ride Life team if you're not yet. You need to reach out to Liz, sign up for the Ride Life team. It's absolutely insane. You're going to want to join to get in on that, because I think Hannah rides bikes too. She said she's going to go for a ride after this. So, and I just learned she's in Alexandria, Virginia, where I'm at, which is crazy.
Watch out.
Laura Turner says, that's an awesome way to do it. I need to think more about the exercise design. Cool. If you need help, like Liz does coaching, if you need help with like program design, there's no better, like Alex and I send people to Liz for program design. She is incredible. She's literally like an engineering online program wizard. She's insane. Hannah says, yes, for real. Hannah, jump in the Ride Life team, reach out to Liz, shoot her a message. How do I get signed up? Best investment you'll make this year, I promise. Liz, so you've got your offer. You got these 5 things, right? So tell us, how is it going with memberships? What I love about this is you're not having to make, so from what I understand, you're not making you didn't set yourself up for, I got to make 2 new training videos every month to just add more exercises in there, from what I understand. Or is that the case?
So I've been building it up. So I started with 3 levels for core and balance, upper body and lower body, and then for endurance. And so over the past 4 months, I've added up. So every level now has 6 different levels, and it goes up to a pretty high level of function, pretty high level of strength. And so I feel solid about that. Now I'm going to start building out a little bit more of the recovery parts. And so what's good about this is that as I'm making these programs, I'm getting paid for it. So as I'm building them out, it's not that I'm like, as I did with my net course, just built it all out and then tried to sell it. like I'm getting money in as I make it better. And also whenever you think about membership groups, you think about, I forgot who did the podcast on it, but it was called Surprise and Delight.
Mm.
And whenever you think about membership groups, what makes people want to stay, makes people want to pay for more months, is all of a sudden they get something like, oh, that was nice. Ooh, this is new. And as I build, I'm adding in that surprise and delight.
Ooh, I like it. Was it Stu McLaren?
I think so.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. Cool. I think that's awesome. I think that I really like that idea of surprise and delight, because it can get you as a consumer every month, right? If you check your bills, right, you see that come out and you're like, is this really something I need to keep going with? Which is natural. It doesn't even matter how amazing your program is, right? We all every month look at things that come out monthly and are like, honest question, do I need this? Do I not need this? Right? Especially if money starts to get tighter or whatever. And so if you can think, whoa, well, that thing this month was amazing. Yeah, dude, I can't let this go. Right. And so you want to add in those little things. Liz, I'm super curious. So just to recap real quick, and I got a few more questions and people had some questions, some specific questions, but recapping. So you didn't start a membership site right away. With 2,500 people, your first offer was a Climb Crushers program that you polled your group what they were struggling with. They told you it was climbing hills, better, feeling stronger, climbing hills. You then beta tested that, as in you put the offer out, had people pay for it before you even made the lessons, which you didn't even know what they were going to be yet. Then you made it, you did it for 6 weeks, took people through, and then you refined that. By the way, you still sell that program, right?
That's actually the program that they get in the membership. So that's what I've built out even more.
So it was already validated before you even started the membership site, because people were buying it. Love it. Love it. Okay. Then you launch another program again. And then the third launch, you realize, hey, maybe I should do a membership site. And a membership site you did with 2,500 people, and we got 62, and now we're up to 80 something, 85, 88. And you're making over 1,500 a month, we'll just say on average, from your membership site. Granted, there are costs, right? Kajabi, ClickFunnels. So not all of that's pure profit, but still, it's there. And how do you see yourself moving forward? Because you and I have talked about this privately a lot, but just really curious, as you see with the membership site, kind of where your brain is at for people who are on the fence. Because one, it's an undertaking and something to be considered. Two, how do you see yourself growing this in the future?
I definitely see doing more launches. So this is my first launch since January, February, because I was just a little burnt out.
Yeah, you put a lot in.
I was just a little done. And so I just cruised and built up the course a little bit more. And so I'm doing this launch now. I'm probably going to do another launch in August, September time. And then I'm also going to be taking on more individual clients and making them pay a more of a primo amount. So I just signed somebody yesterday that's going to pay me $200 a month to do online training. And so trying out that kind of form. And she's going to pay 2 months up front. So it's a $400 for 2 months at least, with $200 continuing on.
Cool. I love it. I love it. And I think the cool thing is right now, Liz, where you're at, you have assets. And now the product or program creation piece isn't going to be as extensive, right? And this is where I think people get really caught in the online business world of, and Alex and I have been trapped in this at times. It's like, okay, what's the next thing I'm going to make? What's the next thing I'm going to make? And Liz, you got to, you have now 3 core programs. You have Climb Crushers, Core Crushers, and now you're the Ride Life team. And now you can launch all year round based on those 3, right? You can look at, is there another program? But at worst, you could always be sort of cycling through these 3 because they're all validated. Every single time people have paid for them. People have gotten results. We know that much because I've seen the testimonials. They've gotten amazing results. And you've had people go through it and give you positive feedback. And so you have these assets. It took time to build them up, right? It took a year to build these 3 assets, but you have them. And I think it's one of the things that really people misunderstand is like, I'll just do this once, it's over. It's like, it's taken us a year to figure out what are these assets to have. But now every time you launch, it's not, oh, I got to go make this huge time investment to make it. Now your big time investment is hyping it up, selling it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that give you any, I guess, Liz, what I recommend to people is if you could look back and say in this journey of building your online business to where it's at, which I know is not exactly where you want it to be. And we're on the path, but it's not, we're not at like, I'm making 20 grand a month. I can just retire from everything, right? Which, at someday we'll all have it, but we're on the path. What do you feel like have been the biggest lessons you've learned? I know it's putting you on the spot, so I'll keep talking for a little bit to distract, to give you some time to think about it. What do you feel like have been some of the biggest lessons, maybe one or two, that you feel like have helped you, or maybe mistakes that you made in doing this process of building your online business over the last year and a half?
I think one definitely, like we talked about before, is making a course before you knew anybody that wanted it.
Can you say that one again?
Right.
For the people in the back. No, it's so true.
I know I talk about this to everybody. I'm like, make sure people actually want to buy it before you make it. And when you first start recording your stuff, so I pre-sold the Climb Crushers, and then I did 18 videos in one day of exercise workout videos, and all of them didn't have sound. So make sure your sound works. So then I had to redo it the next day. It was really, really sore.
I remember.
But it had to get done because I had pre-sold and it started the next day.
I remember the message that night of just like, I am so sore.
So sore. And then two, I think it's just figuring out what your offer wants to be and what, like actually doing some math to it. Because the idea of a membership group sounds great. It sounds good and profitable. It doesn't take near as much time, but make sure that's enough of a membership, like there's enough price point that it would actually make sense to do it.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to do it, understand that it's going to be for a lower amount. Like you're doing it to drive more traffic to you so people can pay you initially up front for something, but that it's not going to be as much. Now, as it goes through this month, through June, I have my people that joined in January, February, it comes their 5th month. And so I'm going to be making from them just shy of $100 for gross total customer value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so knowing that, it just takes longer to get that. I didn't just get $800 up front like I did for my first launch and be like, 6 weeks, then I'm done.
Yeah. I think those are incredible, really, really incredible lessons, really, really important. I think that, I think a big lesson, what I've taken away and what we've learned over time is like in the beginning, a membership site can be a great thing to do, can be a great way of some income. It can't be the core of your business in the beginning. Very rarely does it make sense to be the core of your business. So Liz, for example, it's safe to say like Liz, you couldn't leave your PT practice right now to live off your membership site.
Nope.
Cool. But it is a source of what could bring you income for the next 5-10 years if you just kept it going, made it better, and who knows, maybe over time it does lead to the level of income that could allow you to step away. But it's a long-term play in this case, right? If you don't have a massive following, if you're just starting out, like what you've built is actually incredible when you think about compared to other people at membership sites who what they do is have a massive following and then make a membership site. And it's like, yeah, I want that. It's like, well, yeah, but those people have like 50, 100, 200,000 people in their network who are willing to buy from them. And so it's something to really think about. We got some great questions. Liz, do you have like 8 more minutes?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. We got, I feel really bad. Karina, you asked a question about Kajabi and making assessments. Karina, what I recommend is either reach out to Liz or post in the group. I can't go down and see your question anymore. So feel free to either reach out to Liz about how you make the assessment piece. My biggest thing for you guys is don't get caught up in the details of that unless you know people are going to pay you for it, because that's the biggest mistake I see. But Karina, if you've got a ton of people already pay for it and you just need that piece, reach out to Liz, pay Liz to help you make that. And she is amazing at it. Laura says, that's been my struggle. I thought I knew what people wanted. created it and then crickets, but hopefully next one will give people what they want. Absolutely, Laura. Just keep doing it, right? It's all hypotheses. Nothing's for granted. So we just make new hypotheses and we test it. So Liz, Stephen Dunn asks, Stephen, what's going on? He says, what is the average length of time someone stays in the membership? This is something we've been talking about, you and I. And so we should preface, we're only 5 months in. What's been your experience, Liz, so far? Maybe a better question is, what's been a drop-off rate so far through the program?
So I think last time I looked, there was 50 people that were still in from purchasing in February. And so this will be their 5th month that they've paid. So 50 people paid their 4th month. I think that I may have had one cancel last week. To be honest, I thought a lot more people would cancel already. I was expecting a higher churn rate, which is probably a good thing to expect in your brain. So then whenever it's not, you're like, yay!
Surprise and delight.
It's called churn rate is whenever people drop off.
Yeah.
But I think 50 people or 49 people are sticking around for their 5th month.
Okay, cool. So Stephen, that may be a great question to ask Liz maybe later this year, as she's 5-6 months into it now, but drop-off rate seems pretty low. So 50 have stayed on out of 60 something out of the originals?
At 62, 65, something like that. So I think I've dropped like maybe 15.
Yeah, over 80%.
12 to 15. So not a whole lot when it comes to that. Like that means I've done a good job of providing value, making sure they get that surprise and delight, making sure they want to stay in for one reason or another. And within anything that you sell online, what they perceive as value is what is going to be different than what you think that is going to be valued.
Ooh, Liz, can you explain that a little more?
So some people just want to stay in there just for the community. Like they don't actually do any of the exercises. None.
Now, should you give them their money back? Is that like a...
It's just a different thing that they take away from it.
I think it's really important, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, I just think about how many people I had that came to, like, especially, not to generalize, but a lot of older folks come to PT who, like, they just wanted to have a place to hang out, like a community place. And it was like, I used to work, I did a rotation at a big gym facility type situation. And people would just like come and like, yeah, we took insurance. And so they'd find like, I didn't understand what was going on policy wise at the time. I was just like, oh yeah, you're here and you have a script. So yeah, I'm treating you. And like, I was like, I think they're here to just hang out. Like, I don't think they even care if they really get better. They just want a place to go. And like, at first I was like, this is terrible, taking money. And then I realized over time, like, I mean, I pay to go hang out at coffee shops. Like, yeah, it's coffee. I don't even really care about the coffee. I just go to hang out to be by people at times. Like the value is inherent to the person who's deciding on exchanging money. So I really love that point. And then Liz, I got a couple more questions. We've answered quite a few of them. So Lisa asked, she's interested in learning how to build a membership site. We went over that. We had a question from Alyssa about the what's included. So we went over your offer and the platform that you use. Megan Lynn has a great question. We kind of touched on this, but I guess I'll give it to you in case there's something different you want to say. She says, if you could change one thing about how you approached your business in the beginning, what would it be? Whether online or your brick and mortar practice?
Brick and mortar, I don't think I'd change much. It runs, I mean, I haven't put out anything on social media since October and I'm still getting referrals from people. So I'm in the community, I'm in the know, people are sending other people to me. Far as online stuff, I think I would do more individual coaching first.
Love it.
And look that route first before creating actual products.
Cool.
Because you can make such a higher impact on somebody. And whenever you have a higher impact on somebody, they become what's known as more of a super fan. And that's how I've grown my brick and mortar, is that I've made a ton of super fans out there and they're telling everybody about me.
And financially, it's been very fruitful for you.
Yep, financially, because it's just you spend more of your individual time on something and they're going to pay more for it.
Yeah, I think it's a big thing, right? Like anytime you're giving one-on-one attention, the perception of value is far higher, right? People pay for customized solutions. Like if I think here's a really simple example for people, right? Like, would you pay more to have a customized tattoo, or would you pay more to have a general tattoo? Like, hey, here's a general triangle on your arm. I'd be like, okay, that must be like pretty cheap, right? Versus, hey, here's a dragon for like customized to you that you designed that you wanted, Will. Yeah, of course, I'm gonna have to pay more money for that because it's customized to me and what I wanted, and it's gonna require more effort, right? Versus, hey, here's the general triangle we give people. Like,
I mean, even presenting them to the general triangle, but having it even presented more one-on-one.
right, like we can customize
You know?
the triangle in cool ways, right? Like we can do exactly. Yeah, what a terrible analogy on my part, but yeah, I think that was a great.
No, but it's just like you can use those same things. Like you can create like a 12-week fitness thing, and then but you work with somebody one-on-one to make sure they got like the details of that 12-week program.
Which isn't that what we do as physical therapists for the most part? We work off a framework of how do you heal back pain, right? Here's a framework of how you heal neck pain. Oh, you just have these few things that are different and tweak a couple things differently. But it's not like we're like, oh, you know what, for your neck pain, you need to hang upside down for 25 minutes straight. That's what's going to solve your neck. No, we're like, hey, the common principles are always these things. We just have to add in different spices and flavors. It's not like, for your type of neck pain, I think you need to, be on roller skates and hang upside down from an elephant's trunk in order to fix your neck pain. People be like, for my neck pain, what's wrong with my neck? Like, no, you wouldn't do that. You'd be like, yeah, we do pretty much the same principles. We just do a few things different. Mm-hmm. Cool. Liz, we got two more questions, some great ones here. Hannah asked, oh, Hannah, I just missed it. Shoot. Hannah asked something about how much time do you spend weekly on your Facebook group or in your Facebook group?
Well, you're asking at the wrong time since I'm just in challenge week right now. So I spent an hour and a half each day this week in there at least in the mornings alone, and then and probably like another like 30 minutes in the afternoon because of I'm doing a live in the morning and following up and then sending out emails later as far as that.
Wait, so Liz, you treat this like a business.
Right.
You actually reach out to people, you follow up with them, you send emails. I think that's just the biggest misconception of all of this. It's just like, yeah, no, I'll make a video and post something and I'll make thousands of dollars. Like, Liz, you approach this like a business, right? Like you set aside time to follow up with people, reach out to people. You are actively building a business.
Yeah. And also note if you have a large Facebook group, what happens socially affects your Facebook group.
Yeah, I know you're dealing that may be a whole nother topic for another day, managing a giant Facebook group. Liz, we got one last question from Karen. She says, do you track how active members are in completing their exercises or consistency level? So I guess, are you tracking on your end at all how people complete or not worried about it?
No, I don't. Not for that level of price of program. I do for my individual ones.
Yeah.
They have a platform that I use for that. It's called Koch, and they have to check whether they've completed the workout, and they have other things that go through that. That's what makes part of those a little bit more. They pay me more for it.
Yeah, I think that's a smart thing, right? $19 a month.
I mean, it's like you go out to dinner and you have a couple beers, like that's $19 a month, and you just experienced it for like a short bit of time. Yeah. Versus something that's going to give you benefit over an entire month, give you things to work on, give you direction, gives you where you need to move to. Like I'm over giving for what price they're paying you right now.
Totally.
Over delivering.
I think, it's hard for us as healthcare providers. Like if someone's paying $19 a month and they can't hold themselves accountable, we're probably not charging enough, honestly. Like, because healthcare providers are like, well, if I just give it to them for free, then maybe they'll do it. That's like the opposite of how humans work. Like, are there a few people who will actually do it for free? Sure. But they're probably going to do it for free anyway. They're going to figure out how to do it anyways. Like the majority of people, especially if it's something that they don't want to do, but know they need to do, like money is the tool to force them to actually do the darn thing. And I think it's really important. So,
which is why I raised my price for this launch. It's $20 versus $19.
Love it. I love it. Liz, I just want to say thank you for taking your time this afternoon to go through this. If this has been helpful or valuable and you're watching this or you're listening to this on podcast, if you're on the podcast and you're in your car, don't do anything. But if you're watching this now, if this has been helpful, will you just comment helpful? And Liz, I would love to ask selfishly, if people, Alex and I are going to be launching online business for healthcare. It's already open, but we're actually going to have like a formal launch here in the next few weeks. If people are on the fence of wanting to work with Alex and I, what has been your experience? And you can be totally honest. And would you recommend it to them?
Yeah, for sure. I would recommend it. I mean, I wouldn't have near this business at all. I mean, I was floundering beforehand, you know, and you guys have definitely, over the years that you've been working with people, you've ironed out what's the best ways to help people, what's the best ways to help people move forward and to guide them even better yet.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Liz. Thank you so much. You know, we have a blast working with you. David says helpful. Karen says helpful. Yolanda says helpful. Laura says super helpful. Thank you. Again, Hannah Shum, if you're watching this, please go sign up for the Ride Life team with Liz. Megan Lynn just hopped on. Definitely go back and rewatch. This was amazing with Liz. She breaks down her offers. Laura, if you need help programming things, Karina, if you need help programming things, reach out to Liz. She's an incredible programmer, designer of online programs. Let's see. Hannah is asking Karen a question about Trainerize. Cool. Liz, I'll let you get back to your afternoon. I just want to say it's always a pleasure to talk with you. And thank you guys for tuning in. Liz, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye, guys. We'll catch you guys later.